Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on and ready to go.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
and it's live.
Soumaré, whoa, 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 whoa. Soumaré, whoa, 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 whoa. He came from over the sea to play for the city. Whoa, we've made another signing. Hey, one a day keeps Man United and Liverpool away.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Good evening, Brad. Afternoon, morning, wherever you're watching from in the world. It's one part of the day. Hello.
Hello, Chris. Hello.
Leicester Till I Die TV. We are on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV, Twitter at Leicester TID, and Facebook, Leicester Till I Die the group. And don't forget, as Brad always, of course, does, if you are on YouTube, and if you're not on YouTube, get over there and watch us and give us a sub. We would be eternally grateful. Well, he's a Leicester player.
Yeah, it is. It's a deal that was reported and broke quite early by Romero on Twitter, who's quite the reliable source for most clubs to get excited about signings. He was rumoured early doors that Leicester had already agreed terms with the player, and it was just going to be a bit of a drawn-out process between us and Lille to get the deal over the line. It's happened a bit quicker than maybe I was expecting. We was both on the hunches of a potential third signing in Ryan Bertrand being announced today. The free agent apparently yesterday agreed a 1-year deal with Leicester with an option to have that extended by a further year after the 21-22 season. But Leicester have decided to get this one over the line first, and it's a great signing that is envied by a lot of fans of clubs of the Premier League. So it's nice to finally see Leicester doing another great bit of business. And if the fee of 17 million is believed to be the fee, yet again another bargain price that we've managed to get a player of his calibre for, Chris.
A great signing to go along with my great singing, I thought.
Wow, great signing, great singing. They're polar opposites, but yeah, at least you did a rendition, mate. I'll give you that.
I can see you sort of head in hands in the green room when I was singing, thinking, but you're gonna join me when we do it at the end again.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we signed a 5-year deal. Obviously, 17 million. We know he's going to go in 2 years' time to Man United for 85 million, isn't he?
Yeah. The papers would have you believe. I mean, Patson Daka is already having his medical ahead of his 2-year move to Chelsea for 75 million, and Ryan Bertrand will sign for Real Madrid after his 2 years at Leicester. So we might as well not get used to these players because apparently they always leave within 2 years. It's a rumour that goes around, but no, it's great ambition. Lille did infamously broke the French league by knocking PSG off their perch. So he comes with a strong mentality of winning leagues and trophies. So he knows how to play at the highest level. And in Leicester fans' expectations in terms of adding and not just adding to the squad depth in terms of numbers, but adding to it in recognisable talent, this is a very good war cry from Leicester to show that they're not just here to get numbers in and leave Brendan with only 11 or 12 players that Leicester fans maybe see as a first team option. This definitely not just adds to the squad, but it adds to the spice that the midfield needs in terms of competition as well. There'll be a few players that will welcome the competition because he's not obviously here just to sit on the bench. He's going to be wanting to play most weeks. Again, with our European schedule, it's made a very good appeal to him, obviously, as a player, because he sees there's probably more of an adverse chance of him getting game time here, not just over the likes of Manchester United and Liverpool, but with European football. It's obviously shown that even though it wasn't Champions League football, it still holds a lot of power in trying to get players to come to you as a club.
I mean, I'm just looking who we beat off. And I mean, when these things are released, obviously the press is all over it. But I mean, when you look, this guy, first of all, he's just won a league with Lille. He's, like you said, broken, PSG and all those strangleholds in the French, let's say the few strangleholds in the French league to win that. And yet he still wants to come to Leicester. And not only that, Man United. Okay, I mean, you look at a lot of these, and you've got to say, well, yeah, Leicester are more attractive in fairness than Aston Villa, Everton, Leeds, Newcastle. I mean, no disrespect to Newcastle, but why would anybody want to go there at the moment? And Wolves, but when you look at the other two teams that are listed, Manchester United, and whatever we think about Manchester United, the name itself is a draw for a player, and AC Milan.
Yeah, two huge clubs, and also clubs in the Premier League that were linked with him, likes of Everton and Aston Villa and Newcastle, still hold a history, so they still have their pulling power that they could convince a player to join them because they say that you are a player that we believe could bring us back to the days of like the 90s and 80s when these clubs were probably more dominant in English football than Leicester have. And it just shows that it just shows the transformation in Leicester as a club on a whole and how they've progressed and made themselves kind of muscled in on the big boys to attract these sort of players. Many fans
maybe missing out on the Champions League wasn't too bad, seeing as we won the FA Cup.
Well, yeah, again, that's it. Leicester's perspective will players that are linked or being told by their agent, hey, Leicester City are interested in you, that it always helps subconsciously on the mind when you look at even if you don't know too much about the Premier League or Leicester City as a general club, they've probably over the last 5 to 6 years, Leicester become more of a notable club, most notably for obvious reasons, the 5,000 to 1. But like you said, Chris, they've also gone on to back that up with 2 European finishes and more silverware, added even more attractiveness. And what we're seeing, which is a common theme with Leicester, is they're attracting players that aren't always attracted by just the brand name, which Manchester United are accused of being just the brand name these days. With that's the reason, lack of trophies being a reason that they're not applauding them that way. But Leicester are building a vision, and I think you look at the ages of these players that we not just only have at the squad, but Soumaré is young, Patson Daka, I believe, is 22, and the experience of Bertrand mixed in with that kind of fits the Leicester mentor and pattern that they've been breeding over the last 5 or 6 years at the club. So it's great to see that these players are taking ambitious looks over money in a sense, because you could argue if he chose to go to Manchester United and AC Milan, he might not only not play a lot, but he'd be seen as a move that made a jump to get extra wages, whereas Leicester obviously offer him what he's looking for.
Saying hi to Michael there. Let us know what you think, Michael. Do you think it's a good signing? Let us know your thoughts. I mean, let's not forget there as well, Brad, is that he's just given up. I mean, I know he's only got a year left on his contract. And I know we always moan about, players coming to, clubs coming to Leicester and pinching our players. And we've kind of done this to Lille. Or, they did have another year out of him. But, of course, what they'd get in a year would probably be a lot less than that 17 million because he'd be out of contract. But he has given up Champions League football. He would have got Champions League football next season with Lille. He could have got that at Man United. I'm not sure about AC Milan, because I'll be totally honest with you, I'm not sure whether they finished in the Champions League.
Well, I believe AC Milan fell away, so I actually I don't think they're in Champions League. I actually think they're in Europa League.
He could have got Champions League with Man United, and he definitely could have had it had he stayed at Lille. And he's given that up for Europa League again at Leicester. As a package, with what we've got, people have seen that we've won the league. They've seen we've now won the FA Cup. As you said, 2 Europa League finishes in 2 years. We haven't fallen away in as much as, we've dropped down to 17th, 18th, etc. We are still attracting these players. So everybody that said, "Oh, we didn't finish fourth, we're going to leave," we're going to lose players because of the Champions League, doesn't appear to be stacking up. Good evening, Doug. Good afternoon, Doug, I should say.
No. Did they finish second in the end? Yeah. So I know they were falling away at a point, mate. I know they fell down the league a bit, but they obviously recovered enough to second. But yeah, that's the thing, and it kind of reiterates and touches back on the point that Leicester are building a club to break, are very high regarded in neutrals points, as they're the team that are constantly trying to break up the Big Six, as they're formerly known as. They're consistent in Europe. And the fact that Leicester have, unlike the clubs that you've mentioned, brought a regularity of silverware to the club is also appealing. Let's cast the minds back to the days when Manchester United in probably the 90s, when Fergie had only just got there, sort of thing, early days. They had to build first. Every club that becomes a big club, an attractive club, has to do it in the right manner. Leicester, with their owners, we could speak for hours about how the owners have been at this club since they've arrived. They've been fantastic. And obviously their ambition is to bring in the right calibre of players that want to just play football and have a passion and a drive to win things at club level. And I feel like Leicester maybe did the smart thing by getting the player interested in the club early doors to make this transfer easier. I think Lille, like you say, contracts these days are a bit tenuous. They don't tend to mean and hold as much as they used to do. A 3-year contract, you probably expect a player to see most of his 3 years out at the club. Now, not the case. And I think Lille were always going to sell him if he wasn't up for negotiating a new deal. The fact that this was a rumour that broke before the transfer window tells me that he wasn't interested in it and wanted to move. So Lille thought, well, instead of potentially losing out on money altogether, because I don't know if the rule applies over there, but I'm assuming if he'd got down to the last 6 months of his contract, he'd have been a free agent. So 17 million compared to getting nothing for him, but a wage structure taking off. Would have been a massive loss to them. So
I think as well, if you're saying what, sorry to cut you short there.
No, it's all right.
I'll just give you a chance to breathe. Doug said there, if you're someone who is not PSG and win the league, you get picked apart like Monaco. And because they won it and then they had everybody. And it's very, very true that, Doug. That's a very good point. Doug goes on to sort of add, Leicester's recruitment is second to none. It's the best in the Premier League. Thanks, Doug. And I think you're probably right there. And I think players like you said, Brad. Man United when they weren't, now they're not winning things, they're still Man United. Liverpool before they had, when they won everything in one season, they were still Liverpool. We are getting this reputation of being Leicester City. You know, people can, you know, players can look at us and go, my God, yeah, because they got Fofana and they got Soyuncu and they, you know, they got Ndidi, and they can look at the, you know, players we're signing, add that onto the, you know, the new training facility. You're in a car being driven up to that training facility, you know, to discuss your contract details. You've got to be impressed. And Leicester, I think, are getting that reputation, like Doug said.
Yeah, he's very, very true. Because some great words there by Doug. Thanks for that one, mate. But Leicester are probably commentated to be known as the traditional football club. And you listed a lot of players there, Chris. And there's one thing a lot of them players have in common. They're young. They're young players, and that's something that I like to see a lot of at Leicester, is around about the 20-year mark in their age thing, because players like that are very hungry. They come from these leagues. We get them from the French leagues, League Two, the French League Twos, and where we've got them over the time. We've even gone to like the Belgian leagues again. I think that's where we got Ndidi from. You know, Patson Dak has come to us from the Austrian leagues. We've shown that we are not just good at scouting them, but we're good at scouting players that are young, hungry, and just want to achieve and play football. Yes, obviously, to a point, money has its say in it, but there's a big difference between a player that makes a move and you see that transfer and you go, yeah, he's clearly gone for the paycheck.
Just bearing on that, this is what Soumaré said earlier. Quoting here, I'm really proud to come to the Premier League and a big club like Leicester. It's going to really help me to develop my game and progress as a player. So I feel it is the right step for me, which is basically what you were saying there. You know, this is what players, I think the youngsters are looking at. Yeah, maybe a bit older, they come over and think, yeah, am I going to be starting in that team? I want to be starting. I should be starting. Where the youngsters are saying, it's all about developing my game. Yes, he may be looking in 5 years at thinking, you know, I'm going to get a Man United or a Real Madrid or whatever you. But, you know, they're looking to come to us.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Leicester are happy to be a part of their ambitions. They want to be a part of their journey, and it's probably why, maybe apart from a Mahrez deal aside, that Leicester have players like Tielemans and Maddison and Wesley Fofana could potentially be another one of them, where they're bringing in players that aren't trying to use Leicester as a stepping stone. They're trying to use them as part of their CV in a sense. They feel that if they put their 100% in and come to Leicester in the Premiership, they're coming to a team that is strongly becoming a European side on a regular basis. They're coming to a team that is very well admired by a lot of players, a lot of fans, that not just Leicester fans, but are fans of other clubs. And like you said, you look at maybe not so much the caliber of the players they're bringing in, but you look at the caliber of clubs that have contacted the player agent, the club that they were at before they chose Leicester. We've heard AC Milan, we've heard Manchester United, we've heard Liverpool, Chelsea. And that's just two of Leicester signings they've made this window in Daka and some more. That just shows you that these players have got something that's maybe been missing from football, and maybe kind of was dying in football, which is a player that looks at it honestly. As my clock likes to chime in, I'm just going to keep talking.
I'm going to have to start timing these better, aren't I?
I know, right? I wish my clock.
You do realise that clock is the equivalent to my buzzer to say, right, you're 5 minutes answering that question.
I know,
you know.
I know, right? But no, that maybe youngsters are being taught better. They're being educated better. That we've seen, how many stories have we seen over the years where a young footballer gets caught in the dizzy lights of France with PSG, the Spanish Galacticos of Barcelona and Real Madrid, and an 18, 19-year-old makes the move there instead of maybe going to a Villa or a Leicester or Southampton at the time, because he just sees the bright lights. Most notably, until his career was picked up by Arsenal.
I'm going to have to move on, Brad, because it's only going to be a quick one. This
I was just saying that, like, that maybe youngsters have chosen to make the more professional choice of club than go for the Starlights.
We've got a striker. We've got a midfielder. It looks like we're going to get a defender in. Really like a Fuchs replacement, really, to do that role of backing up Luke Thomas. As Michael said here, and I think he's probably right, we still probably do need a winger. Under didn't work out. I don't think we're going to go for Goossens. I don't see, if we're going to get Bertrand, I don't think we're going to go for Goossens. But we've mentioned this before. I think we both said we'd sooner have Bertrand. Do you agree with Michael there? I mean, I think so, because Albrighton, like Vardy, he's super subbing now more than sort of 90 minutes week in, week out, 2 games a week. We're going to need another winger, aren't we?
Possibly. It is an area of desire that Leicester have been trying to replicate and replace since Mahrez has come in. We obviously don't know with these signings if the plan is to change the formation or layout of the tactics. So it might not be necessarily as important as we the fans feel, because we're used to seeing Leicester play with a right winger. Discretions on personal opinions on them as not. We do still have Perez at the club, and
we still have Gazelle as well. Technically, we had a fantastic season, I think, in Turkey, wasn't it? And as we've seen last season, I won't rule him out of coming into the squad, because we'd all written Mendy off, and he came. Not only did he sign a new contract, but he came into the squad and more than held his own in that position, whilst indeed he was away or injured throughout the season. And obviously we have Ricardo Pereira. With the abundances of right and left wing backs we have now at the club, and if Bertrand joins, that'll be another one. When Leicester are fully fit, we're going to struggle to get these in, and we have seen Ricardo play at right wing before. We have. That is very true.
So maybe Rodgers is trying to develop him into a right winger so we can fit the likes of Castagne, JJ, and Pereira in when they're all fit. Only time will tell, mate.
And we are looking to have an abundance of talent there.
Definitely so, mate.
Michael said there, he's got just hope they sell our best players. I think what he was trying to say was he hopes that they don't sell our best players. I'm guessing with the arrival of Soumaré, and I think Chowdhury's going to be leaving. I hope we keep on to Mendy. Daniel says he could have a fantastic season in Turkey. What you do when you're drunk on Christmas Eve, Daniel, is up to you. I'm not going to. I wouldn't call that seasoning it, to be honest with you, Daniel.
But stopping it, I'll tell you that. That's what he's
doing. Indeed, but Pratt. There's going to. I can see that midfield. Let me put I can see myself putting my teeth in. I could see that midfield getting trimmed down a bit.
Yeah, and I think that was always the case. Unfortunately, when any signing comes in, especially when it's of expectation and caliber of Soumaré and Daka, you maybe look at the depth that the club has in that area. Whilst up front, maybe Daka was needed to boost the numbers up. Soumaré comes in, and you maybe look to know that last year Southampton and Newcastle were already sniffing around Chowdhury, so you'd imagine he'd go. I think maybe Leicester and Mendy probably had a deal where he knows he's the third choice, the backup, if you will, option at Leicester, and he was given the game time and assurances to know that once his contract runs out, he'll go for free. And I think maybe we will unfortunately see a stern fan favourite, and Pratt might find himself asking for a move away. I don't think Mendy's in any trouble of going, but I'd assume Chowdhury will be one that leaves, because you do have to fine-tune a squad, don't you? You can't just have Chowdhury and Pratt and that on the bench.
For me, I agree with you. I think Mendy is one that probably accepts his role. Pratt, I don't think does. When you talk about a player that's played, in semi-finals of World Cups, and we don't know how far they're going to go in the European Cups, I think he is going to want a little bit more. And let's not let's not kid ourselves. People are sniffing around Tielemans.
Yeah, and we know that, and Leicester will, if you know Leicester by any stretch of the imagination, you know that they won't stand in the way of anybody wanting to progress their career. Danny Drinkwater wanted to go to Chelsea. We offered him a deal. He didn't take it, so we didn't stand in his way. He said he came out clearly, said he wanted to go to Chelsea. It might have been a bit sour, but in the end, technically, Leicester's owners didn't stand in the way of Mahrez. He just threw his toys out the pram like the immature idiot that he is. Leicester were always going to let him go. They just wanted him to honour his commitment, which was one more season. So Leicester haven't really ever stood in anyone's way, and I think that's what helps encourage players to not only stay at Leicester, but to sign for Leicester. If you're a player, maybe, as you know, we've got quite a few Belgian connections at Leicester. If maybe a player comes in, just a bit.
I don't know. I didn't think we got. I know we've got a few French. I think we've got your mind in. I'm joking, of course.
Yeah, but again, we also have a few French connections in there, don't we? So maybe someone like Fofana has been contacted, who also played in the French league last season from Saint Etienne. Maybe we heard also that Fofana leaked the tweet of this deal. So we know that these two have been communications, and maybe what he's transpired to him made his decision even easier, because, if you're told it's relaxed at Leicester, they're ambitious, they want to match everybody, they want to help everybody achieve their goals in footballs, try and win titles, try and win silverware every year, try and be in Europe every season. And if Soumaré comes on and 2 or 3 seasons into his career, he goes, thanks for everything, I'm glad I've helped you win this, but Real Madrid are after me and that was my dream, they won't stand in his way should that come. They're not going to do it by any means in a relaxed manner. I think Leicester are probably, we describe us as the perfect balanced club, wouldn't you? We don't need to sell these players once they arrive, but we're also happy to help them realise their dream.
Yeah. Brad, it was short notice, but we had to announce that he'd come. Another 5 minutes, you'd have had a bit of an afternoon off because I'd have been in the bath. But I'll leave you with that thought. I'll make your day, mate. Thank you very much as always for coming on, and even if you didn't sing. And I will see you next Tuesday, unless Bertrand signs in the meantime.
Yeah, no worries, mate. I will see you next Tuesday as well.
Cheers, mate.
Next Tuesday. Bye.
Cheers. Just leaving with what Soumaré said here. If I can just, I'm really proud to come to the Premier League. Oh, I've done that one. Leicester, sorry, this was it. Leicester is a very ambitious club. When they spoke to me about their plans and what they wanted from me, I knew straight away I wanted to come. I am so proud and honoured to be here, and I will give my all for the team and club to make everyone happy. I mean, obviously, nobody's going to come and go, well, you know what, guys, nobody else wanted me. So I thought, why not Leicester? But you got to take what they say, and it is good words that he's saying there. Last two messages here. Yep, thank you, Daniel. As Daniel says there, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button to the channel on YouTube. Thanks very much, Daniel. Facebook user, the 2 signings in the bag, both come to LCFC from successful League Champions titles. We as we said earlier on, it is showing where Leicester are at the moment. Thought they were going to build the squad up. Well, I think they are, but at the end of the day, if you're going to have a player, in my mind, Michael, and I'm going to say Chowdhury on here because I think he is at the bottom of the pecking order. Do we need to keep him? Because he isn't, he's that far down that unless the whole squad come up with a bout of chicken pox, we're never going to get to use him. Pratt, they're ambitious. And we know, as much as I'd love to keep him, I'd love to keep Pratt, but he's ambitious. Like I've just said, World Cups, European Cup semi-finals, possibly. He's going to want to not sit on the bench, and that should be good. In a way, that should be good, and players should want to do that. And we know from last season, he's certainly not sort of, he's behind. When you've got let's have a look. If we've got Harvey Barnes, you've got James Maddison, Tillemans, you've got Ndidi. Perhaps going to be looking at that and going, yeah, maybe I'm not on the top line of choices there. Terry Payne, good evening, good afternoon, Terry. Exciting times ahead. Great early transfer business. It is. I mean, technically they've gone on a while, but we've had the Euros in there. And Michael, I do agree with you, Chris. Well, thank you very much, Michael. Not many people do. I've got to be honest with you. But hey, it's football. It's all about opinions. So we have got Bakker in. We have got Soumaré in. Bertrand is virtually on the point of doing. He's just having his medical. He's probably queued up outside waiting for an appointment, as we all do at the doctors. It is, as Terry said there, exciting times ahead. I can't wait for the season to start. Can you? See you tomorrow night after the England-Czechoslovakia game. Come on, Leicester.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all them social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
To an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.